I'm Jacob Fabuloso, and I'm gay.
I'm Kenny East, and I'm black.
I'm Adam Helmy, and I'm a Muslim.
I'm Rodrigo, I'm a Mexican.
Well, it all started 2 weeks after I got married in Massachusetts. I was thrown in jail for love. I was considered slightly different, as I'm gay. But at the end of the day, I was just another American living in Boston. One of a few million. How could my country abandon me? Put me in jail for marriage? I loved him, and he loved me. Our relationship progressed normally, as any relationship would, heterosexual or homosexual. In this dynamic period of time, I felt as though America would be ready for gay marriage. Not only was America changing, but also, in the past, our founders thought that individual rights were incredibly important. We were supposed to be a model for the rest of the world. My partner was perfect. When I asked for marriage, he agreed. However, 2 weeks after we actually went and got married, the police came to our house and threw us both in jail for 5 years. How could America be a model for other countries when we cannot even live up to our founders' visions?
Kenny, why are you in here?
It all started back a few years ago when I was living in Harlem.
A few years ago, I was living in Harlem. I never did anything wrong, but because I'm a black person, I've experienced much racism. There was one New York City law which was particularly inconvenient, known as 250. Police officers are allowed to pull anyone they think is suspicious off the street and search them for any weapons. Even though minority groups make up only 57% of the population, 84% of those stops were minorities. Only 1.2% have weapons, so the other 98.8% of those hundreds of thousands stopped and searched are innocent and weaponless. I got so tired of getting frisked for no reason that I moved to California in 1991. When I got there, I heard about Rodney King, who was violently beaten by a white police officer because he is black. When I heard that the entirely white jury pressed no charges against the police officer, I was outraged, and so were many thousands who protested against this injustice and show of white superiority. 55 were killed, 4,000 buildings were burned, and I was one of the 7,000 who were arrested. That's how I got here.
So Adam, why are you in here?
It all started when I began training as a pilot. I am Muslim. I trained to be an airplane pilot for 5 years. After 9/11, the American government has become very suspicious of Muslims. The Patriot Act was drafted in order to allow the government to spy on its people to root out terrorists. The Patriot Act gives the government free rein to stomp all over its citizens' rights, especially Muslims. It authorizes the president to confiscate personal property if it is believed to be harboring terrorists. It also allows government law enforcement agencies to wiretap phones and even view people's internet histories. Since I'm a Muslim pilot, the government decided to wiretap me. Apparently, they caught me saying I hate America once, even though I was just expressing dislike for America's lack of intervention in Africa to my family back home. Eventually, they came over to my house and arrested me. The Patriot Act goes against the founders' beliefs, especially the freedom of speech. So what, Rigo? Why are you in here?
It started when I was driving home from work. As I was driving home from work, I was pulled over for slightly speeding. The only problem is that I didn't have my papers on me at the time, and he didn't let me go home to get them. Under the Arizona SB 1070, if you're older than 14 years and you've been in the United States for over a month, you have to register with the government. Not doing so is considered a federal misdemeanor. When the 2010 SB 1070 was enacted, instead of creating fairness, it promoted racial profiling. I fear that this country is putting all of the blame for its problems on illegal immigration, and as a result, everybody is suffering. Life was so much better immediately after I moved here when the Immigration Act of 1990 was put into place and have been a legal citizen ever since. When the act was put into place, it not only increased the amount of immigrants being allowed into the United States, it removed a lot of the hoops being put into place that immigrants had to jump through to enter and stay. For example, homosexuality was no longer a factor that could exclude someone from immigrating into this country. Unfortunately, under this new law, I need to keep all of the documentation with me, and I am in jail, soon to be deported.
All right, guys, let's go.